On this episode of Eat, Sleep, Drive, I finally buy my dream daily driver. But was it a good deal or not? Well, I just bought it and I have to drive 600 miles home, so we're gonna find out. What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Eat, Sleep, Drive. And as you can see, I have a smile on my face because I finally bought the Porsche that I've been wanting. This is a 997 Carrera S. And what I want to do basically is kind of give you guys a little rundown of this car. I'm gonna just give it a walk around, tell you what specifically about this car is why I wanted it. I'll tell you about the deal that I found and how I found it. And then I'll kind of give you my closing arguments as far as why I decided to buy a 997. So as I mentioned in the intro, this is a 2006 Carrera S. The 997 started in 2005, so this is 2006, second year of that generation. And I think it's a really good looking car. You know, the generation before this, the 996, was really criticized a lot by a lot of people. I think somewhat unfairly, but the 997 is no doubt a more attractive car in my opinion. I love these round headlights. You got the strange kidney headlights on the 996. But this is the Carrera S version, so it has the 3.8 liter. Also comes with bigger brakes, as you can see, and it's pretty potent. I'm really enjoying driving it so far. I'll show you guys the interior. This is just black on black. It's pretty base spec. It doesn't have like the sports chrono or the sports seats. And I would love to have the sports seats. The sports seats in this car are awesome, but these are pretty good and they hug me pretty well. But it's a pretty clean car, as I hope you guys can see. I'm really happy with the purchase so far. It's got about 75,000 miles on it. So not too, not exactly low miles, but not a high miler either. And let me just walk you around the back here, so you guys can see. I like this paint a lot. It's like, gosh, Porsche has all those crazy names for their paint, but it's like a dark gray, and it's a sharp car. So let's dive into the deal that I found and kind of how I ended up going about finding this car, which is, by the way, I flew this morning to Wilmington, North Carolina, which is right along the coast, which is 600 miles away from my place in Cincinnati. So I had to travel quite a bit for this car, but let's talk about why I did that and how I found the vehicle. All right, so let's talk about how I found this car, and while we're gonna do that, let's go for a little drive. And I gotta start off with this amazing engine. Ooh, gosh. This thing sings. It just 100% sings at high RPMs. It loves to be high RPM. Let me move this out of my way so I'm not going blind over here with the sun. All right, so how did I come about this car? Well, I have this problem of always browsing Craigslist, and I was using my favorite tool. It's called searchtempest.com if you guys are interested, but it basically allows you to search a very large radius of Craigslist ads or different Craigslist sites. You know how you could go, if you're from like Chicago, you go to chicagocraigslist.com or whatever. This searches all the Craigslist within whatever radius you set. So a lot of times when I'm looking for a car, I use this tool because the cars that I want aren't usually just right around the corner from me. I usually have to travel for them. And especially for a car like this, a Carrera S that, is it's by no means rare. They sold a ton of them, but you don't always just find them right around the corner. So I was searching on Search Tempest, and to be honest, I was primarily looking for a 996. They're crazy cheap right now, in my opinion. A lot of car for the money, and if you can find one that's had all the appropriate things done, like the IMS change, and at this point, a lot of them need clutches and stuff by now. If you can find one for around 20 grand that's had good maintenance and stuff, that's a pretty good deal. So I was mainly looking for 996s, but this 997 really caught my eye. It's one of the cheapest clean title, manual, fixed roof Carrera S's that I've seen in this generation. So it definitely caught my eye. And of course, it was 600 miles away in North Carolina, 600 miles from Cincinnati, where I live. I called the guy right away. It was only posted 3 days before I found the ad. Called the guy right away to get some info on the car. And it sounded like a stand-up car. I like to vet people when I talk to them on the phone when I'm about to buy a car. I ask a ton of questions, and I always call them. I don't like to interact with buying a car via text because, I don't know, I just like that more personal interaction, and I think you get a more candid response. It's less contrived than like if you deal through text. I like to call people. So I called this guy. His name was Donald, and shout out to Donald. He's become a subscriber of my channel, so thanks, Donald. But anyway, really cool guy, really chill guy. He told me all the history of the car. He was the third owner. He bought it about a year ago, and he hasn't really put a ton of miles on it. He's kind of like me. He tends to go through cars. He said he enjoyed the car and he's ready to move on. So, you know, he's pretty upfront with everything. As far as when I arrived to see the car, the condition was as described. So I had a good feeling right off the bat that this guy was a stand-up guy. So I was pretty fortunate. So I found this car on Craigslist. It has 75,000 miles on it. It's a Carrera S, which is in the 997 generation. I really wanted to have a Carrera S. And it's a good color, it's a good scheme, you know, I don't really like the really light interiors that some of these cars have. So it's like, you know, black interior, gray exterior, relatively base model. It's a clean car, has PASM, has big brakes, has a 3.8 liter engine. So it seemed like a no-brainer. So for this price, which is just under $30,000 by the way, for this price I thought I couldn't go wrong. I had to give it a try. Bought a plane ticket the next day and then flew out here. So within a week of him posting that car and me finding it, it's already in my hands. That's how I like to operate, because if it's a good deal, it will be gone very quickly. And I think the primary reason that I was able to find this for a good price is just because of the time of year. Because you could probably see in the background, it snowed actually in North Carolina. So, you know, it's winter time, and sports cars are usually a tough sell in the winter, even a place like North Carolina. So why buy this car? Why buy a 997 Carrera S? Well, for me, and for all you longtime subscribers, you'll know that I went to Colorado not too long ago and I rented a base Cayman that had a turbo kit on it. And that car was an absolute blast. I absolutely fell in love with the brand from actually, when I say fell in love with the brand, it was my first time actually driving a Porsche. So for the longest time this car came out in high school for me. I was a senior in high school when the 997 came out, and it was like, that is an achievable dream car. You know what I mean? An unachievable, maybe not unachievable, but a stretch dream car would be like an R8 for me. I would love to have an R8, or, you know, of course you could say 918 or any of those ridiculous cars, but let's be honest, I'm not rich, and the odds of me having that amount of money are slim to none. So this is like a realistic dream car, or has been a realistic dream car to me, and that's why I was really pursuing it. I think 996s are a ridiculous deal right now. Like I mentioned before, that was something that I had my eye on. But the other reason that I bought this specific 997 is just because for the price, I don't think it's going to depreciate very much. You know, if you look at the collectability of Porsches in general, they hold their value so well. Now, the older air-cooled cars are obviously super sought after right now, and they're very expensive. The most affordable Porsches you can get into as far as a 911 is a 996 and a 997. Now, the 996, right or wrong, you know, a lot of people don't like the looks of the 996, and I mean, or they have a lot of other critiques about the interior and stuff, but in my opinion, they're great cars as well, and they're stupid cheap for the money right now. So if you can find one that's in good shape and stuff like that, but I was having a hard time finding one that had all the things done that I wanted. Like, it had the IMS bearing replaced, and you know, sometimes those cars, the timing components wear. So, you know, I started to get a little bit worried about having an older car. Found this one for not too much more than a clean 996. And I just think because of everyone else really preferring 997s, it's going to be a good car to keep around because it's not really going to lose its value much. It's just going to kind of hold its value, so I can drive this thing for a year and probably get out, you know, knock on wood, assuming nothing breaks, nothing catastrophic breaks, I can probably get out for it what I put into it. And to me, that's as much as I can ask for, because I don't flip cars to make money. I buy and sell cars because I just like to experience different cars. So if I can drive this car for a year and get out of it close to what I put in it, I will be absolutely ecstatic. So I'm somewhere in North Carolina right now, just on my ride home. And as I mentioned, it's a 600-mile journey. So about 10 hours, give or take. And you know, I'm just gonna keep on here. It's a beautiful day, nice sunny day. I got really lucky because yesterday it snowed in the south here. I'm gonna do a proper review, a full review of this car, so I don't wanna get too deep into things, but come along for the ride and let's pray that I can make it home and prove that this was a decent purchase. Check it out, I made it. 600 miles home. 911 is next to the 240 in the garage. All is well in the world. As daunting as that 600-mile journey was, I definitely enjoyed it. Who knows what's in store for me for this car, but I will say at least I made it 600 miles home, so it's pretty decent. Pretty happy with it so far. No major hiccups or anything to speak of, to be honest. It averaged 23.4 miles to the gallon. For those of you who are interested, super happy to be home. I think it's a good buy. I think it's a good buy. I'm looking forward to making some more videos for you guys with this car. This thing is going to be stored for the winter, so you're not going to see much until the spring. I might do some. I need to clean up some things on the interior and stuff, so I might do a video on that. But other than that, I appreciate you guys watching as always. Let me know what you think of my purchase. It's way different than all the other cars that I've done. So yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments, and see you next time.